Hello everybody, I'm back with another Stamping 101 video. I wanted to share embossing with you today, and I'm not talking dry embossing with your Big Shot. Or embossing paste. I'm just talking about using plain old embossing powder and a heat gun. It kind of seems to float to the wayside, but it's such a stunning effect, and I really want to share it with you. Okay, so what I'm going to show you today is Stampin' Up! Has a few amazing products that you must have if you are going to emboss. Number one, as my customers call it, the pillow. It is not actually a pillow. Please don't sleep on this. This is called an embossing buddy. This is what prevents you from getting bits clinging where you don't want them clinging, and we all know that is a good thing. So the reason we have this is your fingers actually have oil in them, okay? So I'm going to show you this. I'm going to touch my paper, and you're like, but my hands are greasy. And then I'm going to show you what happens if I pour... here, maybe I won't use my copper. Maybe I'll use my gold. I'm going to show you what happens if I pour some embossing powder on here. Like that. Okay. And then I kind of move it around. And what you're going to see is the embossing powder is going to stick in places that I don't want it to because my fingers naturally have oil in them. Okay. And although you can't see it on the paper, it does stick. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to rub this same piece of paper down with the embossing buddy, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to throw a little bit of this on. Okay, and I'm going to not touch it with my fingers. Oops, and we're going to move it around, and we're going to do the same thing. And we're going to shake it all off so you don't get bits clinging. Sorry, brush that on the floor where you don't want them to. Okay, so for the sake of today, so what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to rub it all down with my embossing buddy, and I'm going to stamp just two things for you, because I'm preparing for a card, so it's perfect timing for me. So what we're going to do here, you can use a piece of paper to do your powder on. I have some old Stampin' Up! Trays that I use for mine, or you could use like a little old Tupperware container. Stampin' Up! Used to carry these. I loved them. Anyway, we're going to use an ink called Versamark. It's a watermark stamp pad, meaning it's got no color to it, but it is exactly what we want to use for doing this. So I'm inking up my stamp. You notice Versamark stamp pads are a little bit stickier than your other ones. Okay, I'm going to pull that off, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. I have a little sentiment I want to do as well. So I'm going to stamp him over there. I don't think I rubbed that far, but whatever, we're okay. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take that silver embossing powder, because that's the one I need for my card. And you could, like I said, you can do this over a piece of paper. You can do it over a little Tupperware container. And you want to do it because you don't want to waste all your powder. And you want to be able to put it back into your container after the fact. So I'm just going to tap it so that it coats what I want it to. I'm going to tap it off. Okay, and I can see there that I didn't kind of shake enough right over that end, so I'm going to stick a little bit more on and tap it off. And I missed a spot on my words. But you can now see, because you're actually sticking quite a bit on to kind of make it stick, what you do want to be able to do is you want to be able to have a way of collecting your excess, okay? So, ta-da, that's it. That part's done. Now, if I were to touch that right now, I'd brush all the powder off. So do not touch it at this point in the game. That is not what you want doing. Now, I'm going to recommend one thing. Move your tray of loose embossing powder out of the way before you hit this with a heat gun, because it will blow that tray all willy-nilly. Okay, now this is the old style Stampin' Up! Heat gun. There is a newer one out. I just haven't replaced mine because my old one's still working. The new one I do have up at the lake, and it is even better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this thing up, and I'm going to hold it, and I can hold it in one spot to start because nothing's happening. It's not hot enough yet. I'm going to keep kind of twisting my papers to see if you can catch a glimpse of when it changes. And there it goes. And it almost starts to get like a plasticky effect to it. Once it starts doing that, I move it around just to make sure I'm not sitting on one spot too long. I don't want to burn the embossing powder. And then I'm going to go over to my sentiment. I don't know, I hope you can see that. And I get the exact same effect. And now it's got like a gorgeous, ooh, I'm blind right now. It's got almost like a sheen to it. So it doesn't look powdery anymore, and everything looks the same. So this is now perfect for doing what I want to do with it for my card. So the card that I'm going to be doing on my blog today I actually need this little sparkle. So I'm going to come in and I'm just going to pop it out. So much prettier of an accent. It's got a whole different layer of dimension than if I had just simply used my regular ink pads. You know, for that silver effect, you can actually use your smoky slate, amazingly enough, and get a really cute silver look, but nothing is as good as the embossing. It never quite looks the same. So you can see that there. Gorgeous effect. Anyway, so this is my Stamping 101 on embossing. Now, currently, right now, the heat gun is $40 Canadian, and the embossing buddy is $8. You need an embossing buddy, or you can't emboss. Well, you could, but it's never going to look quite the same. So I am going to have a special on indefinitely, basically for the course of this catalog with Stampin' Up, that if you buy the Stampin' Up heat gun from me, I'm going to include an embossing buddy for you. Okay, so that's like a 20% value of your heat gun that you're going to get. In addition, these are the colors that we sell of embossing powder. We sell clear, silver, copper, gold, or white. And if you purchase any 4 colors, I'll give you the 5th one free. Okay, so those are just like a permanent deal I'll have on, because I'd love to see everyone get going with that embossing. It is such an amazing technique, and you are going to love it, and it adds so much to your projects. Thanks so much for joining me, everyone.